And I hope everybody can see the slides and they're sufficiently large enough. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for that, Obi. A really nice summary of the work of the Cancer Alliance. I'm Leena. I work as a health improvement specialist for the NHS Bowel screening program. And essentially my role is to raise awareness of the importance of screening and to also inform people a bit more about what bowel cancer is, because not many people actually know much about it or seem to be embarrassed talking about it and aren't aware about how common it is. So during my short presentation, I'll just dive deep into some of these elements, and there will be an opportunity for questions anybody has at the end as well. So I just want to talk a bit about what bowel cancer is. So bowel cancer can also be known as colon cancer. I think in America they use the word colon, but if you see either of these terms, it means essentially the same thing. So bowel cancer is cancer in any part of the colon or rectum. So you can see in the image exactly which part of the body it would be located in. So what happens is as we get older, the cell renewal process tends to speed up. And what that can end up doing is forming a polyp, also known, described as a clump of cells. And the formation of these polyps, they get common as people get older. So as I'll discuss later, bowel cancer is actually a cancer that tends to occur more in people aged 50 and over, although it is the fastest growing cancer in younger people at the moment as well. So even more important to be aware about the signs and symptoms. I'm sure I tell people that if a polyp is detected, it doesn't mean it's a cancer. So there's nothing to panic about because some of these clumps of cells can remain benign, but they can turn into a cancer over a number of years. So I think what would be recommended in terms of treatment is if a polyp is found, it's generally a better idea to have it removed just to reduce that risk of getting anything a bit more sinister. So how common is bowel cancer? So not many people know this, but bowel cancer is actually the fourth most common cancer in the UK. And it's actually the third most common cancer amongst both men and women. So very serious cancer, very important to pay attention and learn a bit more about what it is and to be aware of the signs and symptoms. So in the UK, almost 43,000 people are diagnosed with bowel cancer every year. It's a very high number. And at the moment today, around 268,000 people in the UK have been diagnosed with bowel cancer. So these are statistics from the Bowel Cancer UK charity. They're doing amazing work around raising awareness as well, and they have brilliant resources. And I will be introducing you to some other websites where you can get more information, also leaflets in different languages as well. More than 9 out of 10 new cases, so 94%, are diagnosed in people over the age of 50. So as I mentioned earlier, it is a cancer that's very common in this age group and above, but younger people are getting it. So the hope today is if you learn something about yourselves and any symptoms, that we kind of spread the word with everybody, if we can have less embarrassing conversations about this topic, because it does tend to be something people are quite reluctant to talk about. I think people are uncomfortable talking about their bowels, but they don't want to talk about cancer either, because it generates a lot of fear. But what I do want to say is that if cancers are found early, they're incredibly treatable. And I think diagnosis and treatment interventions have significantly improved. So yeah, it's better to actually talk about things rather than letting them fester. So that's one of the messages to take away from today. So what are the signs and symptoms? So the number one sign for bowel cancer is blood in the stool or the feces or the poo. So you can use any term you wish. But that is the number one sign we're looking out for. We're also looking for any changes in bowel habit, such as going to the toilet a bit more frequently, or stools are looser. If there are, obvious things like abdominal pains occurring on a frequent basis, that's something to pay attention to as well. If people notice any changes in their bowel habits, so if they've got diarrhea and then all of a sudden they start feeling constipated, or they feel like they're not emptying their bowels properly, that could be a sign as well. And also if there's a change in appearance or consistency of bowel movements, such as thinner bowel stools. I do want to make a point to say that if you have just one of these, because sometimes we all get a bit of diarrhea or constipation, it doesn't mean you have to panic, and it doesn't mean you've got bowel cancer. Normally what's recommended is if you've got 3 or more of these symptoms occurring over a significant period of time, say for about 3 weeks, then we recommend you visit the GP. But what I also say is if you do notice just blood in the stools and that symptom on its own, don't ignore that. Just make sure you visit the GP. And if you are able to do the bowel screening test, do your screening as well. So that I would say is the only symptom I wouldn't ignore and wait to get worse. So I just quickly want to go into what the risk factors are for bowel cancer. So I've mentioned one already, being aged 50 and over. In terms of men and women, the statistics have shown that it affects both men and women equally up to the age of 40. But after this, the rates tend to be higher for men. That doesn't mean men are more genetically predisposed to bowel cancer. But what we do think is happening there is that men are less likely to visit the GP sooner as compared with women. So they might ignore the symptoms and wait for things to get worse. So yes, we're encouraging the men not to ignore, and make sure you go to the GP and talk about any symptoms that you might be having. Other risk factors center around health issues that people might have. So if you're diabetic, or if you have ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease, or particular inflammatory bowel conditions, that may put you at increased risk. So what we recommend is just mention this to your GP, and just in yourself, just make sure you're aware of this, and just take note of anything that might not be feeling right in terms of your bowel health. So other factors such as positive family history have also been found to increase risk of bowel cancer. So if an immediate relative, so a parent or a sibling, has had a history of bowel cancer, then it might put you at increased risk as well. Again, make sure the GP is aware of this. So if need be, they can fast track any diagnostic tests for you, given the positive family history.
If I've got any clues.
Sorry, I think someone tried to speak, Catherine? Or...
Right. I think the microphone just might be unmuted by mistake.
Oh, no worries. Okay, thank you.
You have to mute somebody, whoever that is.
Thanks, Shirley. Okay, so other factors, obesity and a diet high in red meat puts people at risk. So given that this condition is connected to the bowel, we do recommend that people follow a healthy diet. I think everybody knows what kind of foods we should be eating and what we should limit. So junk foods, processed meats, specifically red meats, if we can cut those down and increase our fiber intake, that's very protective against bowel cancer as well. Smoking and alcohol, culprits for other cancers as well. Again, we recommend if you can stop smoking, then please do. It has a lot to answer for in terms of poor health. And alcohol, if you can just limit the amount you have, that's also a good thing for your gut health as well. I just want to go into talking about the bowel screening test kit that's available on the NHS. Some of you might already know about it. So men and women aged between 60 to 74 in England are eligible for the bowel screening test kit. However, the good news is we've age extended. So eventually within the next 4 years, everybody aged 50 to 74 will automatically receive a test kit. So we're phasing in the ages we send the test kits out to. So we've started with the 58-year-olds and the 54, 56, and so on. So it's a phased in approach. So if you are in any of those age groups, don't worry if you haven't received it yet, but you will do. Bowel screening happens every 2 years. So if you do your first one at the age of 50, you'll get another one at 52 and 54 and so forth. So every 2 years, do look out for your bowel screening test kit. In order to receive the test kit, you must be registered with a GP practice, else you'll miss the invitation. That's where the bowel screening hub receives patients, the data on patients and where to send the kit as well. Also make sure your GP practice has your up-to-date address as well. Otherwise you won't receive the screening invitation. Also, bowel screening doesn't have to stop at 74. The last one will be received automatically at 74. If you do want to continue to participate, you can request a screening test kit yourself. Just wait 2 years before you do that. And there's a free phone number, which I'll be sharing at the end of the presentation, that people can call. We've also got a bowel screening website, which has all the information as well. I will go into what the test kit looks like and how to complete it, but I'll quickly just touch on how the results are analyzed. So it's a test kit that you post away. So you do it in the privacy of your own home. And the purpose of it is to detect tiny amounts of blood in the poo that we can't normally see ourselves. As I mentioned earlier, one of the symptoms of bowel cancer is bleeding. So this test kit picks up on any blood that you might have in your bowel motion. And it's a very sensitive test, and a further investigation will be done if there is blood noticed, and you'll be offered another appointment to check for that as well. The test kit itself doesn't diagnose bowel cancer, but if blood is found, you will be invited for a colonoscopy, which is the most effective way of detecting bowel cancer. And that's when the doctors will be able to check your bowel health, see if what's going on inside, directly inside your bowel. And if a polyp is found, it will be removed. And prior to a colonoscopy, you will actually have a meeting with specialist screening nurses who will go through whether you're suitable for a colonoscopy, and they'll guide you through that whole journey. There's nothing to fear or worry about. You will be supported throughout that whole process as well. After having sent the bowel screening test kit, you should receive your results within 2 weeks, and probably even sooner. So we say the sooner you do your kit, the quicker you'll get your results back. So that's always a great thing, because a lot of people are quite nervous about doing the screening. But I've spoken to so many people now who've done the screening, and they feel really good that they've completed it, because it's just formed a part of their health MOT, and it's just that peace of mind they get knowing that everything's okay. So this is an image of one aspect of the bowel screening test kit. So the bowel screening test kit will be registered to you. It will have your name printed on it, unique barcode. So when you send it back, that barcode will be scanned and your results will be put on the system. And your GP will also be made aware of your whether you've done the screening and what your results are as well. And this is the second element of the screening test kit. So there are 4 simple steps. It's essentially a little tube, and you just have to collect a small stool sample and pop it back into the bottle and seal up the test. And on the websites I share, there are animated videos and loads of resources that you can see, just to look at exactly how the screening test kit works and what people do. But very simple to do, 4 simple steps. Once the sample's been collected, you just slot it back into the cardboard section, and you seal it up and you post it off. And it's literally as simple as that. You do it in the privacy of your own home. You don't have to go anywhere. All you need to do is just put the date on it. I think the trickiest part for people is collecting the sample. But what the research has shown is that once people do it once, they get used to the idea of it, and they're more likely to do it again. So it's just that initial step that people have to take, but it's very easy to do. The old screening test kit required 3 stool samples from 3 different days. This is just 1, so it's much easier and very easy to do, and it's saving lives. I think that's the most important message that we need to remember. Simple to do, and it could save your life. So this is a brilliant leaflet designed by Cancer Research UK. And there are very innovative ways suggested that you can collect the stool sample as well, as you can see. What I recommend, and probably the easiest way, is if you just use folded toilet paper in your hand and poo onto the tissue, very small sample that's required, and then you can dispose of it quite quickly. But there are other ways you can use. I think we'll be sharing these slides with everybody, so you can have a look here as well. So finally, I just want to touch on some take-home messages that we sometimes forget, because when I speak to people and I mention you have to collect a stool sample, they grimace and they're just not happy about it. And they've got many reasons not to do screening. So I think my role here is to give the alternative perspective. And some of the messages I share with people, and hopefully you can take these messages to your loved ones, friends, family, when you're encouraging them about screening, is that the test kit, the screening program is saving lives. Bowel cancer is being found early, it is being prevented. Some people say, I've got a healthy lifestyle, I exercise, my diet's good, I'm not at risk. But just by virtue of being 50 or over, you're automatically at risk. So it's just worth including screening as part of your healthy lifestyle choice as well. I also hear people saying, oh, I haven't got the symptoms, but it doesn't mean you're not at risk. So another key message to talk to people about. The other thing, the test kit is free. It comes to your home and you can do it at home. You don't have to go anywhere for it. Very simple to do. And for those who don't have English as a first language or can't read English, there are leaflets in different languages. If you call the Bowel Screening Hub, there are bilingual members of staff that you can speak to. So there's loads of support out there to help you complete the test kit. And as I said, once people do it once, they know the drill, they know what to do, and then it just becomes easier. And when you get your result, and in most cases results come back normal, you know, people have said that they just feel really good. And I've even spoken to people where bowel cancers have been found, and then they've had that dealt with, the treatments happen sooner, and they've also gotten a lot of peace of mind from that. And these are people who haven't had symptoms, and just by virtue of doing the screening test, the bowel cancer has been found early. So this is a page with resources. So as I said, I think Catherine will be sharing, so you can click on these links, brilliant resources, animated videos. If you need to know more, you can share these with others. There's an easy read guide on how to do the screening test as well. And these are just my details there. If you have any queries, you can email me directly or go via Catherine. And that's the free phone number, 0800 707 6060, that you can call to find out more information. And as I mentioned earlier, we have got leaflets in various languages on the websites I've shared as well. So that concludes my very short presentation. But yeah, we're happy to take questions if anybody has.
Thank you so much.